2 years ago, I set two impossible goals. First, to teach myself professional level art skills. And second, to build a successful YouTube channel, for my standards, about that journey. Starting from absolute zero with no experience in video creation whatsoever. Both felt scary and way out of my league, but both were dream goals of mine that I dreamed about for years but always ended up procrastinating instead of acting. I did have an unfair advantage though. I had already reached two impossible goals before in my life. More about those later, but I knew that there was a trick to motivation, a way to use procrastination to your advantage. I had secret knowledge that made me confident, if you will. But what I didn't have was time. Between my full-time job, my relationship, and working out, I could only spare a few hours per week. And it's little time, especially for a serial consumer of YouTube videos like me. But that's okay, because the reality is that impossible goals are not achieved by being super productive or by trying to squeeze more practice in your already busy life. No, they're achieved by understanding that procrastination and motivation are two sides of the same thing. So if you understand one, you understand both. Today, I want to show you what I learned about motivation so far, and how you can engineer the conditions where achieving your impossible goals becomes not just possible, but also inevitable. Before we dive in, I've put the link to a free companion guide to this video with everything I talk about and more, so that you can follow along or come back to it in your own time. That document is part of a database where there's well over 100 of such documents. Each one is distilling something I learned about motivation, about skill growth, and how to become a highly effective creator. But let's dive in. The first thing that you need to understand is that motivation is not a character trait, it's a function. Specifically, it's what is called a sinusoidal function. It moves in waves, sometimes sharper, sometimes smoother, but always forming peaks and valleys. In modern society, we tend to demonize these valleys, thinking that motivation should be a constant. And when it dips, we assume that something is wrong with us, so we fight these waves. But without these valleys, there are no peaks, and that's when you get stuck in a rut. Luckily, here is the first breakthrough that changed my life forever. You don't only have one motivation curve, you have many. One for each substantially different thing that you do. So if you time your activities wisely, you can be experiencing a beautifully balanced sequence of motivational peaks that drives your life in a way that feels constant, even though it's not. Once I understood this, everything changed. Instead of trying to force constant motivation, I learned to surf the waves of each activity I do. And here's how. By listening to or intentionally triggering one of these 7 levers of motivation. Number 1, biological rhythms. Your energy and focus follow real biological rhythms: ultradian, circadian, and infradian. You're not supposed to feel the same every hour of the day. The peaks and dips are built in, so acknowledge them and listen to them. Number 2 is novelty dopamine. Motivation naturally spikes at the start of something new, a project, a job, a year, or a season. So you can use these fresh starts moments to kick off any ambitious work that you want to do. And then we have deadline dopamine, because you get a second motivation spike near the end, when a finish line is in sight. These are not ranked into any particular order, but in 4th place, we have motivation by exposure. Seeing other people succeed with your goal makes it feel possible for you too. Belief becomes automatic when you see it around you. Okay, next we have a fear of alternative. Sometimes motivation comes from simply not wanting to stay stuck or wasting your potential. If the pain of standing still gets bigger than the fear of trying, you start moving. That's quite typical amongst founders, which are also usually driven by the motivation to build. The idea of your work producing a piece that is part of a bigger puzzle can be extremely motivating. That's why world building is so captivating. And finally, we have project-based motivation. When you're trying to achieve a well-defined outcome in the form of a project, you're able to engage your brain to do problem solving much better than if, say, you are studying fundamentals as part of a course curriculum. And that anticipation of completing a project is what gives you the motivation to stay in pursuit. It's how I learned to code, to draw, to film, and to edit. You can use these 7 triggers to design your own routine. You can anticipate them and build systems that work with these patterns instead of forcing going against them. And if you want to shortcut the process and get my own eyes on your current setup and have me develop your ideal routine with you to reach your own goals, hit the application link below to request a coaching call. If not, and you want to give it a try by yourself, make sure that you check out this other video about how to create cool projects and find your passion, because it will be essential in your journey to reach your own goals and build a creative life that you love. See you there.